It's how can I help first? We love doing it. Now, you don't have to love it, but be genuine about it is okay. If you could love it, it's even better. Because when I jumped on both my calls this morning, that's my first thought is how can I uplift them?
Welcome to Get Unstuck On Target, the weekly podcast that offers senior leaders insights and strategies to not only lead with confidence and vision, but also to achieve groundbreaking results. I'm your host, Mike O'Neill. I coach top-level executives on the power of ethical leadership to forge teams to be as united as they are effective. In each episode, join me for insightful conversations with leaders just like you, providing practical advice to help you get unstuck and propel you and your company forward. Let's get started. Most leaders don't get stuck because they lack opportunity. They get stuck because they haven't been intentional about who they let close. The right relationships aren't accidental. They're built with clarity, discipline, and service. In this episode, I sit with someone who spent decades proving a simple truth. When leaders stop selling and start serving, influence follows. If networking feels forced, if growth has stalled, it may be time to rethink how you build trust, not just contacts, because leadership isn't about collecting people, it's about cultivating the right ones. You know those leaders who just attract the right people, the right partners, the right opportunities, almost effortlessly? It's not luck. It's not charisma. It's discipline. My guest today is Steve Ramona, and he's turned that discipline into the way he operates. Steve is a super connector who's helped generate more than $1 billion in project impact by doing one thing exceptionally well: bring the right people together. He's the host of the top-ranked podcast, Doing Business with a Servant's Heart, where he challenges the idea that business is about transactions. For Steve, it is about transformation. And today, we're going to break down exactly how that works. Welcome, Steve.
Thank you for having me, Mike. This is awesome.
Steve, you have built your entire approach around the idea that service is strategic. It's not soft. Can you maybe take us back? Where did that philosophy kind of come from?
Yeah, and I'll start with this. Don't usually start with this, Mike, but for your audience, we're in the people asset business. And financial, if you're business owners, you know all about that. You want your assets growing. The more assets you have, the more money you make and all that. But we have a people asset problem because people have to have people. I don't care if you're a coach with one client or you're a plumber with 50 clients and trying to get more. We have to take care of our assets so it grows. And building relationships is the way to do that. Not selling them, not transacting with them. You'll eventually do that if it's a right fit as you build a relationship. You don't do it right away. And think about this. You've all heard this many times, but how many men or women did you date, depending on what gender you are or who you date, before you got married? Now, some people got married that first person they dated and all that, but that's a small percentage. But you went through a number of people. How about your friendships? You didn't just meet a guy, Mike, today, which Mike is a friend we've met, and I just love what he's doing. By the way, he's a great host. But we have to build that relationship to see if I really want to spend time with that friend. Well, business is no different because the people in the business are people. And it started way back at 18 years old. My family started a health club. Just got out of high school, and my cousin Jeff, shout out to him, he's been a great mentor to me and my dad, Ralph, as well, and said, "Why don't you work the front desk, make a little bit of money because you're in high school?" Yeah, okay, I need money. Easy job, I could sit behind. But when I realized, Mike, as people are coming in to work out, I started building relationships organically. It would be, "Hey, Mike, have a great workout." You'd walk out, "Hey, Mike, enjoy your day," to, "Hey, Mike, how's your grandkids?" Or, "Hey, Mike, how was your vacation in Bali?" I always pick Bali. I don't know why. I guess I want to go to Bali. It's telling me my subconscious. And then leaving, "Hey, enjoy your vacation or enjoy your weekend," or, "Hey, enjoy your whatever." And that turned into people buying me lunch, having conversations about family, friends, their business, what they were doing. But it started bringing me gifts. And at 19, I didn't really know what these were, but one example was Tony, who was a financial advisor, a little short guy. He called me kid. Hey, kid, what are you doing today? So he comes in one day, Mike, and says, Kid, he threw a book at me called The Wealthy Barber. He said, Do me a favor, read it. You've been good to me, kid. I want to give you something back. It's only a short 50-page book. And he came in the next week and asked me, So, kid, what'd you think about the book? I said, It's basically said, take 10% of my income and don't touch it.
Hmm.
So I said, I could do that. And remember, audience, and Mike, this is 1979, 80. I make about $3 an hour.
Mhm.
Doesn't matter, but keep that in perspective. So 10 years later, I looked at that. I kept looking at the couch, just peeking. Oh, it's growing. Oh, this is great. But I listened to him and didn't touch it. Well, in 10 years later, so it's about 89, 90, he had $68,000 in the account.
Hmm.
Now, I'm 28 years old, working. I forget where I was working, still working at the health club. And it was like I won the lottery. So I called Tony and thanked him and said, Can I pay you $1,000? That was your business. He goes, Steve, one, I'm retired, so I won't take your money. But two, here's why I won't. Because when you took my gift, my advice, and you ran with it, that was the gift to me. So somebody in my life came to me that helped grow my business, helped build my business. That's how it works. And Mike, light bulb moment, 28 years old, I'm going to keep serving people because my universe will change.
You've been doing that for a good while. In the intro, I I use that expression that probably gets a bit overused, and that is that shift from transactional networking to transformational connection. There's a difference there, but define that difference for us, please.
Transaction is I give you my blanket because you won my blanket or hat or whatever. We're just transacting. We're not building anything. We're just giving, and we have to do that. That's life. Transformational is I come in, and I'm not sure if I did. I think I've got some referrals for it, but I gave you some value after you were a wonderful guest on my podcast. And that's transformational. It could be a resource, it could be an introduction, it could be giving them your book, it could be what can you do to transform, uplift that person?
Mhm.
It could be small as it's a wonderful background you have, Mike, and you Zoom to here's $100,000 for your nonprofit and
Mm.
anything in between. It's something that you give to somebody to help them out, whether it helps them for 5 seconds, 5 minutes, 5 hours, or 5 years. You've made the big word impact.
Steve, I didn't really fully introduce you as to the scope of the kind of things that you do, um, to generate revenue for your business. Walk us through what are those things, please?
Podcasting has been a incredible tool. I'm a very advocate of podcasting. When wonderful hosts like you asked me to be on, it's such an easy entry. Everybody can do it. I know people, I don't want to be in front of video, my voice isn't right, or but it's more about connecting with that guest or that host, like we're doing vice versa today, and really getting to know them. I call them one-on-ones on steroids. You've all done discovery calls, and they're great. I did 2 this morning, and 2 of them are gonna be wonderful. I'll tell you in a second why those are so wonderful. But the one-on-one, I get to know a person's challenges, desires, passions, what they love, personally and professionally. So when we get done, I can refer through that person, meaning here's some referrals, here's some resources, tips, whatever that may be. What's the next question they always ask? Well, Steve, thank you so much. How can I help you? Well, audience, now that opportunity door flies wide open. Hey, I'm a business coach. I am looking to work with lawyers and CPAs. If you happen to know any, I'd love an introduction. Well, they're more apt to do that because they want to give you a gift back. The law of reciprocity, game changer for businesses.
You mentioned how a podcast interaction um, starts a relationship. I find myself doing the exact same thing. Steve, we were introduced. You were kind enough to invite me onto your podcast. I'm inviting you on to mine. But the reality is, I wanted to cultivate a deeper understanding of and appreciation for you and to understand what is it maybe I can do to, you know, brighten your day or expand you. And one of the things that you've kind of introduced me to is kind of that art of great introductions. That seems to be a real niche of you, particularly video introductions. Tell us a little more about that, please.
The written word's good. We've been doing emails for years, the 90s when internet started, and we wrote on letters, and they're still important. You know, those are become more personal, especially if you do a handwritten note, "Hey, thank you for being a guest on my podcast," or whatever you're thanking them for. The video, they see my body language. They see my voice interpretations of, "Hey, Tony, you gotta meet Mike O'Neill. Oh my god, when I met Mike, I thought of you because this, and this." When I'm moving around in body language, it's much different impact, Mike, than when I type that out.
Hmm.
And I just started doing it, one, because nobody's doing it. I rarely get a video introduction. I get 3 to 5 referrals a day.
Mm.
So, one, you become unique and different, which I am, because I love to they take a little bit more time, which is okay. I try to keep it around 30 seconds, but the response I get from people, and here's the other thing, I'm serving both of those people,
Yeah.
because I could talk about Mike and I could talk about Tony in such a wonderful way. Of course, be authentic and genuine, but now I could do that typed, but I have a lot of energy. So when I have, what's the word I use? Bring out this energy of and explain why I'm introducing, excuse me, why you both should meet. And I just did a meeting this morning. It just happened this morning, Mike. We both didn't know what we're on there for. I know how to work it out, how we connect. We figured it out. It became a great meeting for him because I'm going to bring him some great Apostle $1 million offer.
Hmm.
I mean, massive meeting for him because he's starting launching a cool little project. So it's very important when you do introductions, this is why I'm so good at it, is what's the reason for the introduction? Just don't go, Mike and Tony are great guys, you should meet. That does not spur opportunity when those two meet to be able to do something together. Instead of, hey, Mike, I met Tony, you're both business coaches. You know what? You both work in the legal field. You guys should do a retreat together and bring lawyers in and speak about legalities with business coaching, for example. I've done hundreds of millions of dollars doing that for people, give them the idea. Because what am I doing again? I'm uplifting them. I'm bringing a law of increase. I am serving them with a resource tip. Now, people come to me, Mike, and they go, what happens if it doesn't work? It's an introduction. I'm done. I've done my job. And you should think that too. Don't overthink it. I mean, I had one lady reach out, 2 artists. I thought, what a great opportunity. She does smaller paintings, he does larger, put them together. She sent me an email like, why would you introduce me to another artist? Well, she didn't get it, and that's fine. There's no judgment here. But you'd be surprised when you meet people what could happen.
Could we unpack that a little bit? And I may
Sure.
be asking for secret sauce here, but let's just assume that folks watching or listening say, you know what? I like that. I want that to be a differentiator for me. I'm already making introductions, but I want to kind of up my game and make a video introduction. Do you have a particular platform you prefer to use to record that on?
I do. I use Dub Video, DUBB.
Okay.
We can put the link in the chat if you have access. Be honest, it's an affiliate link, but I've been using it over 4 years. I find it simple, and I love referring to stuff I use because if people need help, and I offer that help for free by a quick email or a text, "Hey, I have a problem with this," to close that curve. It's just simple, and you could put little, calendar links in there and your business link and, softly promote what you do, which is what I love too, because people can have access to me as I'm doing the introductions. The other power of introductions is let's go back to the people asset.
Yes.
If you have 10 people in your network, you're not gonna be able to do many introductions, let's be honest.
Right.
I've did 1,800 introductions last year. This year I'll do this 2,000. Yeah, I do 2 or 3, 1 to 200 a month,
Mm.
um, because I enjoy it, but what happens is I introduce people more, I learn about them more, and I can find more people I can connect them with. And I have a principle we'll get into in a minute, but that's what I do, to make the internet and the cool thing here, Mike, anybody can do this. Anybody. I'm not That's not a superpower. I don't fly in the air. It's literally just steps. And I started at 0 like everybody else, and now I've probably 10,000 in my network.
I didn't mean to geek out on platforms and the like, but here's what I'm hearing thus far. You found a platform that has worked well for you. You've shared that with others. I also am, as I'm watching and listening to you, you're more than just a talking head. I see your hands. I see that animation. When you decide you're going to make an introduction, and you make lots of introductions, and you said that you're trying to ask up front, why am I making this introduction? Do you find that if you hang up with somebody and you say, "I wanna introduce those 2," do you tend to just go ahead and do it right then?
I don't because they take a little bit of time. So I take a couple days in the week. Don't wait 3, 4 weeks. I've had that where people because their energy has been lost. So I'll try to do them within a week, to be honest. And I want to cut that down. By the way, Mike, that's one of my goals for 2026. So thanks for asking. What a wonderful host you are. Is to make those in 2 or 3 days and automate it a little bit more. But on the flip side, when you receive an introduction, don't wait 2 or 3 weeks to answer that unless you're on vacation and something happens. You want because they're gold again. Let's go back to the people asset. When you get an introduction, that's a door opening for you. And here's a quick story. I had a guest on my podcast, did the podcast, had a great time, gave him some, brought some transformation to him. And he goes, "Man, Steve, can you help me?" I said, "Sure. What do you need?" He goes, because I'm in the Bay Area, it's Northern California. He goes, I have a cousin that's a bartender. He wants to become an entrepreneur. I know you mentor entrepreneurs for free. Would you be willing to spend a couple minutes with him? I said, absolutely. We set up a 20-minute call. It lasted 45 minutes. He got
Mm.
so much value. He was so happy, appreciative, and grateful and thankful. But then he goes, "How can I help you?" Which happens all the time when you bring value. I said, I would love to have some type of guest that has a big influence. He goes, "Mike, how about the founder of Google, Sergey Page, I think his name is, Sergey
Yes.
Page?" I went, "You know him?" Because in my head, I'm going, "Bartender? How's he know? Oh, does he go and drink?" I'm going through all these stories in seconds. He goes, "Well, that's my cousin."
Really?
I'm like, "Absolutely. That would thank you so much." It never hasn't happened yet. We're still working on it. It may not. But that's the power of we don't know people's network, their family members. That's why I do free stuff because sometimes that door opens like that. And I get him on my podcast, game over.
Mm. So we've learned that you found a platform. We've learned that you don't just stop whatever you're doing and record it. You tend to kind of group these together. You try not to let too much time pass. You try to be mindful. What's the whole purpose of this? But what you've shared is as those go out and those introductions are made, it comes back to you, and it comes back to you in a number of ways because you've not just made introduction. You mentioned that word transformation. You're looking for what could help, and that goes back to 18-year-old at the front desk at a health club, does it not?
It does. I mean, I remember going out to dinner, Mike,
Mhm.
and my friends going, "How do you know that guy?" This guy's a guy. "Hey, there's Steve. Hey, Steve from Royal Courts." That was the name of the health club, or they, flip me and buy me a drink or whatever. Because, again, building relationships at a young age, I realized, God bless my cousin and my dad and my uncle who started this opportunity, this health club and the opportunity, and I just wanna share it with others because, again, anybody can do it, with a powerful return.
This next question, like all my questions, you don't know what I'm gonna ask. Sometimes I don't know what I'm going to ask, but you make many introductions. You're very purposeful in those introductions, approaching 2,000 in a given year. Um, but you also write about having a inner circle. I think I read somewhere where you wrote where the income will match the quality of your inner circle. I don't know if I'm attributing that to you correctly or not. But one, first of all, is that something that you would subscribe to?
I do it it's completely changed my life the last 2 years. Through my podcast, I was running networking groups, good, great, but there are a certain level of income and success, and that's okay, not judging. Somebody make 100,000 a year or 80,000, whatever that is, and they're happy paying bill and they're happy, that's all that matters. But here's the power of when I started the podcast, I got billionaires, multiple 100 millionaires on my show and get mentored from them and becoming friends of them. I've had my health. I was diabetic. I'm not diabetic anymore because of the mentor. I've increased my income 10 times this year, and next year probably even more because of another friend from my podcast who became mentors and friends of mine. Um, I we so I tell people this, you're at a certain level. Say you're making 150,000 a year. We'll just use it as a guide, but just a guide. That's it. No
Okay.
judgment here. And you want to go to 300,000 a year? Well, go to people and mentor with people that are doing millions a year.
Mm.
Run multi-million dollar companies because that's a different strategy than people that are making 50,000 a year. It's just is what it is. They're at 50 or 100,000 a year for a reason. But also too, and here's the servant's part. So when I say serving, if you're watching on video, everybody, most people will serve at chin level, and it's great.
Mm.
I want to do more. I want to transform. Go to nose level, up a level to your nose by doing more. And
Mm.
here's how you do more. You work with millionaires, super successful people like I have. I take all their information and I share it with people below me. Those people that need help, those people that struggle. I give them all those resources. So when you get mentored, you can mentor other people. And that's the flywheel I love because now we're changing lives. We're again making huge impact.
I hate to put a number on it, but in practical terms, if a person listening to you says, I get this. If I if I want to double my income, I need to be with and learn from those who are making much more than I'm making. Is there a rule of thumb that you would recommend? That is, how many people you should be cultivating in form of a quality inner circle?
I know there's that phrase, the 5 people. I always mess this phrase up. The 5 people closest to you, is the most important. That's a number people use. I don't think there's a number because if you have 10 people that are mentoring you, you could reach out and go, "Hey, Jimmy, got a question about AI. You're an expert. Can I do this? Or how do I do this?" Or what it may be. There's not really a number in my mindset. It's all personalized to that person. But it's super powerful. I do this all the time because again, people asset. I'm going to walk you through this audience. I want you to remember this is so powerful. It's a game changer. People asset by building relationship. I can now go to these mentors that I mentioned. I could email them right now or give them a call. Hey, I have a question.
Hmm.
And they're going to take it
Yes.
because I've helped them and I continue helping them as they help me. And people go, "How can you mentor multimillionaires when you're making 150,000 a year?" Well, you connect other millionaires with other millionaires.
Mm.
I did it this morning. I connected a very powerful person in Hollywood with a very powerful business coach, does billions of dollars.
Mm.
Me, I'm not near that level yet, but I'm able to put those 2 people together. That's extremely powerful because she was blown away. Now she wants me on her podcast. She wants me to speak to her group. Again, it's going back to I brought her value. Even though she's super successful, she was so happy I served her because I said, "Let me take your information and share it with my group." And she goes, "People don't ask me that."
We hear serve first, but the question really is, d- do people actually do it? You're describing how that's become who you are, how you operate. Um, you've been doing this for a good while. You used the word flywheel a moment ago. What kind of popped in my mind is as you're doing that, it can almost feed that ecosystem, can it not?
All day, all night. My
Okay.
ecosystem, I can look at my email. I'm sure I might have a referral or somebody needs something or whatever it may be. I love, and Mike, when I first met you, that's why I love being on your podcast. You have that same mentality. It's how can I help first? We love doing it. Now, you don't have to love it, but be genuine about it is okay. If you could be love it, it's even better. Because when I jumped on both my calls this morning, that's my first thought is how can I uplift them? How can I bring them value? Or in Think and Grow Rich, it's called chapter 4, law of increase. How can I do that? No matter what level they're at, super successful or just starting a business.
When you ask that question and you kind of hear crickets, what do you do in that situation?
Next, we can't, yeah, we can't, we can only offer help on a podcast, only offer help. Maybe 1,000 people listen to this and one person's impacted. The other go, it's not for me. Love you. I'm here to help you. But that one person is what we focus on going, hey, Timmy, you know, with all this, information we're putting out here, go and run with it. I hope you're super successful. And by the way, I'm here to help you if you need more help.
Now, Steve, am I correct? 800 plus episodes? Is that about
Yeah,
right?
I'll be over 900 by the end of the year.
My goodness, that's a lot of serious reps. Can we talk about podcasting as kind of from a leadership standpoint? And that is, um, what has hosting a podcast taught you about clarity and service and influence that you didn't expect?
Right away, being able to talk to people that are super successful
Mhm.
and talk to them at the same level. And they do, because I don't care if they're super successful or just starting out, everybody has a message and everybody wants to talk about their message. Whatever that may be, I might have a workshop. I want to change the world here, or I want to do this, or here's my story. I overcame this obstacle. Everybody has a message, and a podcast is a wonderful platform to do that. And me and you, Mike, are giving them the opportunity. We're giving them that platform, our time to do that. So most of the time, people are so thankful for that. But then when you give 'em more, go from chin to nose level again, the podcasting can really change your business because I've been asked to be on TV shows. I've been on
Mm.
TV shows, radio shows, of course, a number of podcasts. I think I've done over 300 in the last year. Uh, Articles have been written about me.
Hmm.
And I started with nothing. I was just an entrepreneur doing network marketing 5, 6 years ago, just trying to find my way in my middle 50s. And because of the podcast and people understanding that Steve's out there to uplift everybody, people wanna hear that story. And people go, "Well, selfishly, how's that help you?" Here's how it helps, Mike. I want doing business with a servant's heart or doing life with a servant's heart message to go out to 1,000,000 people next year.
Okay.
And if I accomplish that, I've made that impact. I'm leaving a legacy that I wanna leave, 'cause I helped a lot of people. And some people go, "Well, you want 1,000,000 subscribers?" Well, me and you would love 1,000,000 subscribers,
Right.
1,000,000 followers. No, if Joe Smith hears this podcast or watches one of my and shares it with 10 people, and they share it with 10, you can see how that compounds. That's all I'm asking, and all I'm hoping that will happen. I'm not hoping, I know it will happen.
And that's a mindset you need too, as well. And that is having the mindset that this is going to have an impact, even if one person, and be satisfied that's the case. But you can dream big, aim high. You do that in a variety of ways. You're very modest, but and have enjoyed some success. May I ask you to reflect on a time where perhaps you got stuck? Can you tell us a little bit about, why you were stuck and what really got you moving again?
This is one of my favorite questions of the 300 shows I've been on, Mike. Thank you for asking. I even told you before the show because you had not warned me, but say I'm going to ask this question because I've learned on all my podcasts, all the successful people were stuck.
Yes.
They had to overcome an obstacle, which is why this is such a great podcast. And it happened in 2013.
Okay.
Um, Building this whole network, I ran a restaurant. It became one of the top restaurants because I asked everybody to follow me.
Hmm.
Again, people ask it. I build a relationship. And my friend who owned the restaurant, he's like, "What are you doing?" I said, "Just inviting people."
Yeah.
Well, then I launched a recycling company, recycle computers, electronics in California. Really needed it, still do, but it was an opportunity. And same thing, I brought a bunch of people in. Well, we get to about 2000. So 2006 we launched. 2012, 13, I get an email or a letter from the government because we were paid by the state of California to recycle. They said, well, we're going to cut back on how much we're going to pay you. You're going to get paid less. And our numbers, revenue dropped like more than 50%. I'm like, I got 2 employees. My servant heart starts coming out. What
Yeah.
do I do? Do I pay them less? I guess I got to take less. So I'm going back to my 2 mentors, Jeff Ramona and Ralph Ramona, my dad and my cousin. I love them to death. And Jeff, if you ever hear this, I'm going to tell you, is they sat down with me, said, Steve, and this was such a big lesson.
Mm,
Your employees are going to be okay. They'll find another job. Don't worry. You can't continue doing this and bankrupting yourself.
yeah.
You just you're feeding into a black hole that you're never going to get out of, basically. I'm paraphrasing. So I made a tough decision to close the company out. A lot of people are emailing me, what do I do? And I found them other places to go. And I got past it and I'm super successful today. And part of it is I got stuck there. I could have kept it going for another 3 or 4 years, but I probably had 150, 200,000 in the bank. That probably would have been all gone.
Mm. As we begin kind of winding down this conversation, maybe an unfair question, but I'm going to ask it nonetheless for the leaders who are listening now. And, they've been listening because, you know what? My network, it really does need some work. What might be one thing that they can do this week that would have perhaps the most difference at the end of this week?
I mentor a lot of entrepreneurs audience, and if you're an entrepreneur, business owner, and even family member, you want to grow something, here's your mentoring. You want to meet 10 new people every week.
Mm,
Now you're starting today. If you listen to this today, well, we'll probably run through, but when you listen to it and it's a Friday, start on Monday. Go through your contact list and tell everybody what you're doing. I'm a business coach for mindset. Do you know anybody that could use my help that you could connect me with? Go on your calendar for 6 months back. Go back to those meetings and go, hey, Joe Smith. Hey, Timmy. Hey, Debbie. Because people meet new people every week, every month. Hey, do you know somebody? Reach out and refer through them.
mm,
And real quick story, I did this January 2020. I was a part owner of a digital business card company. I was a sales for them. And I'm like, I got to meet new people. All my whole family and friends know about because I did my contact list. They all knew about it. Some of them signed up. I had like 20 clients. Well, Monday I woke up and said, okay, there's 20 networking groups I can go to a week, 20
mm,
hours. I get, 40 hours a day. I could do that. That's 5 hours a week. Yeah, so 5 hours a day, whatever it was. So I did 15 or 20 hours of networking.
yes.
In 6 weeks, I met 500 new people.
Mm,
Now, I didn't meet 500 people through the networking, but I met Joe Smith, who introduced me to 5 people. I met Debbie, who introduced me to 10 people. I met Tim, who introduced me to 2 people. Well, in 6 to 8 weeks, the owner of the company comes to me and goes, what are you doing? You're the top sales guy in the company. You've tripled your sales.
mm.
Meeting new people every week, uplifting them, bringing them value. And then they ask you what you do. Here's what I do. Don't transact with them. Just tell them what you do. If they're interested, book another appointment to do a transaction. It works. I did it and it's magical.
Steve, this has been gold. And for leaders who really want to dig deeper into the work that you do or learn more about how these connections actually happen, what's the best way for them to reach out to you?
Steve Ramona on LinkedIn, Ramona. Ramona the Pest. Been hearing that. That's for us older people, that's a book that kids listen to or read. So Ramona, Steve Ramona on LinkedIn, I'm always there. And then you can email me anytime, Steve, the letter R, 1961 at Gmail. Steve R 1961 at gmail.com.
Excellent. If you're in your car driving, don't worry about it. This will be in the show notes. Steve, thank you.
Thank you, Mike. This is awesome.
As I wrap up, if Steve's message hits home, and if you're realizing that your relationships might be the biggest untapped asset that you have, connect with him. Use those links that you'll find in the show notes. And if today's conversation might have you thinking maybe a little bit differently about your own leadership, how you're showing up, who's in your corner, and what's maybe holding you back, let's talk. I offer 2 hour game plan sessions. These are 2 actual hours of real coaching. There's no pitch, there's no pressure, but this is by invitation only. I only can do a few of these every month. If that is something that you would be interested in or know someone who would, you'll find a link in the show notes as well. For everybody who's watching and listening, I want to thank you for doing the work, and I hope that this has helped you get unstuck and on target. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Get Unstuck and On Target. I hope you've gained insights to help you lead with confidence and drive your organization forward. Remember, at Bench Builders, we're committed to your success, your leadership excellence, and your strategic growth. If you've enjoyed our conversation today, please leave a review, rate, and subscribe to keep up with our latest episodes. This show really grows when listeners like you share it with others. Who do you know who needs to hear what we talked about today? Until next time, I encourage you to stay focused on the target and continue to break new ground on your leadership path.
This show is powered by Media Leads. To get your next great podcast produced, go to MediaLeadsCo.com.